Jai Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jaya Gopi Chandravallabha, Jaya Girivaradhari, Jaya Girivaradhari, Yashodhanandana Brajajana Ranjana, Jamuna Tera Vanachari, Jai Radha Madhava, Jai Kunja Bihari, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Radha 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 Radhe, Jai Radha Shama Sundar Radha Shama Sundar Radhe, Jai Radha Madhava Radhe, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Jai Jai Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Shila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramhamsa Puracharya Asuta Sara Shila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Om Vishnupada Paramhamsa Parivracharya Sutta Sara Shila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Maharaj ki jai. Anantakoti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki jai. Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Sari Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Radhanath ki jai. Shriman Mahaprabhu ki jai. Shri Giriraj Govardhan ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Go Premanande Hari Hari Bo. All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So, dear devotees, today we'll be reading from the Light of the Bhagavat, as usual, and the topic is Human Spirit, Analogy 36. So, let's go. With the progress of the autumn season, the moist earth and muddy places begin to dry up, and the green vegetation begins to fade. This drying up and fading resembles the gradual disappearance of the false sense of affinity and ego. So let's just read the purport and try to say something. Progress in cultivating the human spirit entails the gradual disappearance of the materialistic ego. Covered by ignorance, passion, and so-called goodness, the spirit soul thinks himself all in all and is covered by a false sense of ego. Thus, he falsely identifies the soul with the body, and his bodily relations with material things become the object of his attraction. His false identification and attraction for matter gradually dry up and fade away by success and cultivation of the human spirit. This is the effect of such higher cultivation. Progress in spiritual culture brings about the disintegration of false ego and material attraction. The ultimate goal of cultivating the human spirit is God realization and surrender unto God with a full sense of his all-pervasive nature. When a liberated soul thus surrenders unto the lotus feet of the all-pervading Godhead, the ocean of nations become as insignificant to him as water in the small hoofprint of a calf. He at once becomes eligible to be promoted to the spiritual kingdom, and he has nothing to do with the miserable land of the material world. Cultivation of the human spirit is not therefore mere adjustment of materialistic anomalies. It is a process for preparing oneself to be promoted to the spiritual kingdom. No one can adjust the sufferings of material existence, but by spiritual culture, one can elevate himself from the effects of miserable life. As an example, one may cite the condition of a dry coconut. The dry coconut pulp automatically becomes separated from its outer skin. Similarly, the outer skin, or the gross and subtle material coverings of the soul, automatically separates the spirit soul, and the spirit soul can then exist in spiritual existence, even though apparently within the dry skin. This freedom from false sense of ego is called the liberation of the soul. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Tadati Swapajantikam. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radhakanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchikalpatarubhescha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavinebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So yes, dear devotees, just to comment on these nice words of Srila Prabhupada, we understand that we're once with the Krishna in the spiritual world, in our natural element, right? Because we have fallen into this material world, we identify with the body as the self, and we have become overtaken by false ego. So this is the false ego that makes us think that this body is us, and the whole world is under this false notion that I am the body, and I must do everything to satisfy the demands of the body. So Prabhupada said that actually there's no department of knowledge to teach us who we actually are. There's such big universities and colleges around the world, around the globe, basically, and in such prestigious, colleges and universities, but there's no department to teach the person who they are. What is the soul? There's no knowledge of this. Only when you come to spiritual life, then only you get such knowledge. Otherwise, everything is so materialistically inclined. Even religious institutions also do not delve on the subject of the soul, because they don't know much. They just have like limited information, right? Everything is based on the body. I pray to God to keep us, keep the body healthy, and to keep increasing the demands of the body, like the famous prayer, oh Lord, give us our daily bread. So this is there. Prabhupada said that the bread is there, and so what need is there to pray to God for your sustenance when he's already taking care of you? He's taking care of the ant, he's taking care of the elephant, he's taking care of all living entities, so that so the Lord will do that. So there's no need to pray to God for that. We should pray to God to actually help us get connected to him and to go back to him, right? Instead of suffering in this material world. So we don't want to live comfortably in this material world for just to increase our propensity to actually come back here over and over again, to remain in this material world. We want to get out of this material world. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada calls this the cheating religion, right? If we pray to God to increase our bodily demands, I need this, I need that. give me a house, give me a colored TV, give me a car, give me whatever we need, right? This is called cheating. In the Bhagavatam 112, Dharma Prajita Ketevacha Paramonimat Saranam Satam. Because it is actually cheating us of our real identity. And our real identity is that of spirit soul, right? We are spirit souls. We are not part of this material body. Our real bodies are spiritual, and it's made up of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. Sachid Ananda, right? And so I guess we cannot actually imagine a body like that. But yes, our bodies are Sachid Ananda, made up of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. So in this material world, our bodies are made up of ignorance. It is temporary and it is miserable. We try to be happy here. Why? Because by nature, we are meant to be happy. Ananda, we are full of Ananda, we are full of bliss. So the spiritual body is always in a blissful state, and there's no anxiety in the spiritual world. Like, take, for example, the residents of Vrindavan. Their only anxiety is, if I don't feed Krishna, he will die. This is Mother Yashoda. And she's always making a plan how to keep Krishna happy by making nice foodstuffs for him, right? She will spend the whole day like milking the cow, taking the milk and churning it into butter. And that is all done by, with her own hands, So in this way, that's her anxiety. I have to feed Krishna. And so their only anxiety is how to make Krishna happy. Srimati Radharani, she is feeling separation from Krishna when Krishna, goes out herding the cows. She's feeling separation. And sometimes Krishna, he does this, and to increase her love for him. So he also, he disappears from her sight. And the Gopas are always thinking, what game can we play with Krishna so that he may be pleased, And the gopis are thinking that how can I dress nicely so that when Krishna sees me, he'll be satisfied. So everyone just wants Krishna's pleasure, right? In this material world, it's only about I, me, and mine. How can I be happy, right? Bodily consciousness. How can I be like the demons think? I want to be rich, and so much wealth I have today, and so much I will accumulate tomorrow. And my enemies, I have killed my enemies, and so I'm rich, happy, and satisfied. So like this, they're thinking, I want to hoard more and more, but we see that, are they really happy? The rich wants to get richer, and they're always in anxiety and pain, right? And they always want more and more. So they're not actually happy. They're always in anxiety. So when we leave this body, what will we take? Nothing, right? We leave everything behind. All our wealth that we have worked so hard for during this lifetime to remain happy in this world, right? We'll have to leave and go. So what is this? We're working our whole life like hardworking beasts of burden, Prabhupada says, only to just leave it to the family members or people who basically don't even appreciate it, But we see that in Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna is asking Krishna, what happens to an unsuccessful yogi? And Krishna says that, he will carry on from where he has left off in his previous birth. So nothing is lost, So the only bank balance that we take with us is our spiritual bank account to our next body, right? Nothing else. Or if we have actually progressed so much so that we remembered Krishna at the end of our lifetimes, then we go back to the spiritual world and no more bodies, no more taking bodies, right? And Krishna says that, we will be born in a devotee family so that we can continue from where we have left off in our spiritual journey. We will take off again. So therefore, the devotees that are born in devotee families are very fortunate in that they have been practicing in their previous lifetimes, and now they're getting the opportunity to take up to the process again. So it's only in this human form of life that we can realize that we are spiritual in nature. Animals have lower intelligence and cannot understand this. Only humans can. So by all means, be a human being, right? Because we get some people who are in a human body, but the behavior is like that of an animal. So we shouldn't live like animals, or we'll attain the body of an animal in our next birth. We need to tap into our human spirit. Yes, so in the Bhagavata, here in this analogy, it just says that it's not a mere adjustment of materialistic anomalies. How do we do this? We need to tap into our spiritual essence and try to connect with the Supreme Spirit. In this way, we unravel our true identity and situate ourselves in loving service to God, right? The easiest and most effective means to do this is to recite the names of God, right, or names of Krishna, as stated in the different scriptures, right? And Srila Prabhupada says in one of his lectures that at any name of God can be recited, but the best name is Krishna. So in this way, by reciting the names of God, we can actually make progress and go back to the spiritual abode. So I just want to go over this analogy and try on. I'm just going to read certain parts of this purport. So here Prabhupada says the ultimate goal of cultivating the human spirit is God realization and surrender to God in full sense of his all-pervasive nature. When a liberated soul thus surrenders unto the lotus feet of the all-pervading Godhead, the ocean of nations becomes an insignificant to him as water in the small footprint of a calf. He at once becomes eligible to be promoted to the spiritual kingdom, and he has nothing to do with the miserable land of the material world. So yes, devotees, we have been so long in this material world that we do not have, we have forgotten our spiritual nature, and so we are trying to the best of our ability to satisfy our senses in this material world. But we see that the harder we try, we do not get any joy from that, right? And so therefore we actually come to a state that this is actually not helping me, and therefore we have come to a higher type of intelligence and a higher type of knowledge, and that is spiritual knowledge, because this is the only spiritual knowledge can actually satisfy the spirit soul, because we are spiritual in nature, as I said before. So cultivation of human spirit is not therefore mere adjustment of materialistic anomalies. It is a process for preparing oneself to be promoted to the spiritual kingdom. No one can adjust the sufferings of material existence, but by spiritual culture, one can elevate himself from the effects of such miserable life. An example one may cite, as an example, one may cite the condition of a dry coconut. The dry coconut pulp automatically becomes separated from its outer skin. So just like this, just by practicing devotional life, then we come to the liberated platform. And, so the analogy is given here of the dry coconut pulp. It's attached to the coconut, right? To the shell. But in course of time, when it dries up, it becomes separated from the outer shell. So similarly, we are basically attached to this material body, but by practicing spiritual life, slowly but surely, we actually get rid of this attachment, and we become liberated from this body, from this bodily concept of life. So this is a very nice analogy Prabhupada is given here. So he says, similarly, the outer skin or the gross and subtle material coverings of the soul automatically separates from the spirit soul, and the spirit soul can then exist in spiritual existence, even though apparently within the dry skin. So even in this, so let me just read the last line. This freedom from false sense of ego is called the liberation of the soul. So even whilst in this body, we can become liberated, right? And we can be situated on the highest platform, even whilst in this body. So therefore, we should take seriously to the chanting of the holy names of Krishna, and to reading and studying Srila Prabhupada's books, so that we can become free from this material clutches of Maya, basically. So we'll stop there. It's almost half this. We'll stop there, and we'll hear from you now. If you have any comments to make, or you'd like to ask any questions, you're most welcome to do so. Hare Krishna. Denton, Shemaine?
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you for a lovely class. I just want to add something in, okay? Because the soul is eternal, we have the tendency, we have natural tendency to live forever.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes. So this because the soul is eternal, we don't want to die, right? Everyone is afraid of death. They want to live eternally, but you cannot live eternally in this material body. The material body is subjected to old age, disease, and death, so therefore we cannot live in this body eternally, and the soul will have to get another body. So most people are afraid of death. They don't want to die, and because that's a natural tendency, that the soul is eternal, one can actually perceive this, right, and understand how the soul is eternal, because nobody wants to die. Yes, you're right, Shemaine.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Jensen?
Hare Krishna, nothing from my side.
Okay. Anayana Manjari?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you for a very interesting class today. Just from a personal perspective, Mataji, I think what you spoke about today pertains so much to me as well, because my personal life, I basically surrendered it through to Krishna. And the materialistic person that I once was, I am no more. And even for me, like to go to the doctor and get medication or whatever, it seems like an effort and I don't like to actually do it. And I always say to Krishna, as I surrender to your lotus feet, I leave everything at your lotus feet. So whatever happens is, I leave it to you as well. And like recently I had a very, very bad bout of asthma as well. And like to take the pump and to nebulize, you just get so tired. So every breath that I take, I will say Krishna and Krishna and Krishna. And, as I take the breath, I actually feel my chest clearing up. And I say, because you are my God, I leave everything at your lotus feet and do whatever you want with me. Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Nayana Manjari. Very nice. But actually, we should think that this body is given to us by the Lord. So this body does not belong to us. It belongs to Krishna, and therefore we need to take care of it. If we need medication, then yes, and if that's going to help us to heal the body, so by all means, we should do that. Get medication and heal the body so that we can serve Krishna better. So, yes, because Krishna is also giving us the intelligence, how to heal the body, and we can use it for his service. So yes, although we are not the body, but we are in this body now, so we must use it in Krishna's service. That's also liberating. Thank you so much, Nayana Manjari. Paramatma Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you for the class.
Hello.
Now, Amaji, I was just thinking that I read something today that Krishna has material energy and spiritual energy, and the spiritual energy is like what you mentioned, full of knowledge, bliss, and eternity, and the material energy has ignorance, miseries, and lamentation. I think it mentioned lamentation. So, is this what you're mentioning, that the body is the same as material energy, Maharaj?
Yes, the body is
When you said
made
the
up of.
body has all that, gives you
Yes.
misery, is temporary, is that Krishna's
Yes.
energy?
Yes, the material energy is Krishna's energy, because in the Bhagavad Gita he says, this divine energy of mine is very difficult to overcome, but the person who has surrendered unto me can easily cross beyond it, right? So it is Krishna's energy as well, but we need to surrender unto the lotus feet of Krishna so that we can overcome the material energy.
Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Yeah.
And Maharaj, I just want to know about clutches of Maya that you mentioned. Can you just expand on what that means?
What's that?
Clutches of Maya that you mentioned. Clutches of Maya.
Oh, the clutches of Maya.
Yeah,
the
is that now?
Maya
Okay.
is the modes that we are situated on, She gets us entangled in her grip. So Maya Devi, or Durga Devi, she's the warden of this prison house, and she's got all of us entrapped in here, right? And it is very difficult to come out of her clutches. She wants to keep us here, like, the prisoner. So this is compared to the prisoner. The prisoner is in the prison, and he has to, undergo his time of punishment in the prison. So similarly, we are, bound here in this material world by the three ropes: the goodness, passion, and ignorance, the three gunas, right? Another name for guna is rope. So these three ropes are binding us in this material world, and we need to get out of it. So here in the purport of this analogy, Srila Prabhupada says that, I'll just read this. Progress in cultivating the human spirit entails the gradual disappearance of the materialistic ego, covered by ignorance, passion, and so-called goodness. The spirit soul thinks himself all in all and is covered by a false sense of false ego. Thus, he falsely identifies the soul with the body, and his bodily relations with material things become the object of his attraction. So yes, because we are in these modes, goodness, passion, and ignorance, so even goodness is not good. We need to go beyond that, and that is the Suddha Sattva, which is pure goodness, right? So these modes of ignorance, passion, and goodness, we need to get free of that. And the way we get free is by chanting the holy names of Krishna and reading, hearing about the topics on Krishna. And this is the way to actually absolve this body, Prabhupada says, disintegrate this body, right? So that we can enter into the spiritual realm. I hope that answered your question.
Hare Krishna ji, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Hare Krishna.
Haribol. Anything else? If not, we'll have a short kirtan and we'll close. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Prabhupada, 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 Jai Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Go Premanande, Hri Haribo. Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Mataji.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.